my offering. Lay me at the throne. Leave me alone.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Welcome to Backpage. Backpage, a new program that speaks to community-felt issues and topics, discussions, and solutions through both effectively and through intervention. Backpage is an open forum. Backpage. Backpage.
A hot mess already.
What in the world? What in the world?
That's all right. Go on and jump in.
I know.
Good evening,
good
Reverend
evening.
Randall.
Good evening. Good evening. That's a good evening to all, everyone.
Hello.
You're listening to another edition of Backpage on WDDO The Glory, 107.9 on your FM dial, 980 on your AM dial.
Yeah.
You also can get us on a variety of social media, from Facebook Live to Periscope Live to, which I didn't know, LinkedIn Live. What else am I missing?
We need those
Twitter
links.
Live.
We really
all
do
those
need
links. We're out on all those links. So welcome again to another edition of Backpage. We're here as usual to try to bring you, I won't say entertainment, but sometimes that does happen anyway. Not my fault.
Every week.
It's not me. It's not my fault. But bringing you something that you can use to nourish your spirit as well as to help you in your daily living here in this Middle Georgia area.
Yes.
So as usual, I have to yield to my left.
Yes.
To my left, y'all.
Ladies.
I can't help it.
Help us, Holy Ghost.
Set it off. Huh?
Set it off. That's it. Set it off.
Help us.
The TLC coach.
Yes. Good
TLC.
evening. Good evening.
Yes, indeed. What's that mean anyway?
Tough love coach.
Okay, the tough love coach.
You know how Mama did.
I know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It is. It's all love.
It is. And then over to my right.
None other than Reverend Dr. Stephen E. Summerow.
You see his teeth are glistening tonight.
Hey.
They glisten all the
Let's
time.
show it off.
Go on, show this
No, that's just his light.
So you run the bus again tonight, right?
I suppose so.
Okay.
I'm gonna be on the.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
say that to
I'm gonna
you.
be on the caramel brown side tonight. Okay.
That's okay. So Reverend Dr. Stephen Summerow, better known also as
the
the
eye jock.
eye jock.
Yeah. He's here. He here.
I think it's a little more.
Good
than
evening,
here.
everybody. Good evening to all of our listeners out there. We hope that you will find the show enlightening and uplifting and also educational. We hope that you will learn something and informative.
Yes.
I like it. That's it. That's
Exactly.
it. All of the above and then some.
And tonight we have something special for you. We're doing something a little bit different. We didn't threaten you with it, but we told you we were going to be bringing someone in here in the Middle Georgia area, just a little south of here, a little further south, the city of Warner Robins.
What was you about to say?
Wartown.
Warner Wonderful. I was being silly.
Wartown.
But there's some things going on there. A lot of things going on. For those who don't know, of our listeners who may across the Great Divide, across the country, this city is growing with leaps and bounds. There are people who are moving from the big city, from Atlanta down to this way to raise their families because it is such a good city. I think it's known as the international city as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a good place to raise a family. And the stats for this place are something else. But like everything else, we have some things we need to look at. Here comes change. And with change comes progress in some cases. And in other cases, it's not. But we're looking at doing something different tonight. We try to bring in people who are who mean something to the city, who are beneficial, who are looking to do great things for the city wherever you are. So it doesn't matter what we're doing. So
say it again.
That's what we're trying to do tonight.
And
again, I have to emphasize here on Backpage, we are open forum. We are open forum, which means that we solicit your calls and your input. We want you to call in and talk too. With that, as tonight, we do have a special guest with us tonight.
There
There
we
you
go.
go. We do have a special guest with us here tonight, Miss LaRonda W. Patrick. I'm trying to see if she comes in. There she comes. There she is. There she is.
Yay!
She's in the house right now.
Hi.
So
She's in there.
Yes.
we have her with us tonight. She is there's a mayoral election in the city of Warner Robins going on, and because the first election happened, it's actually a runoff.
Mhm.
So believe in what I believe in what we believe in how things should be, and just believe in how things ought to be. Did I say all that?
You did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You just ran it right off.
I'm being transparent. With transparency is a good thing. So, but we have Miss LaRonda W. Patrick with us. She is a mayoral candidate, and she is in the runoffs
Yes.
for
Yeah,
this.
congratulations for that.
That's it.
Number one.
That's it.
Thank
All right,
you.
that's definitely worth congratulating. So.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
It is, and we believe in supporting and putting it out there as we can. We believe in being fair to everyone. So
Absolutely.
if someone else wanted to, if another one of the candidates wanted to come on the show and have a word, we tell them no. Anyway, that's it.
They are more than welcome to call us, and we will have you on.
Yeah, we in fairness, we would do that.
God don't like ugly.
No.
But you saw me laughing. You saw me laughing.
It's so hard. we sung that last week. We just had fun.
It was
with that.
good last week. It was good. We had fun too. We
I
do
can
things
see.
that
I
Yes.
see it.
But-
I love it.
but
Relax
it's-
yourself. Yes.
That's right.
You're in
That's
good
right.
company.
That's right.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
So that's what we want to do. We have again Miss LaRonda Patrick here, and we want to lift her up. We want to, and again, this is a Christian program. This is a Christian-based program. It's a Christian-based radio station, a gospel station. So we do things to improve your soul connection,
That's
so to
it.
speak. So
hello,
care.
hello.
exactly. So
So care.
All right. Y'all getting started already
Yep.
now.
Start early.
okay, so we do things to enhance your soul care, and by helping to put the right people in the right place and right position.
My.
That's something that we try to do. So let me begin with this, and of course y'all jump in like to jump in, and you always got somebody sitting over there dancing in the camera.
I'm trying to get everybody on. I'm saying make sure my folks are on. Make sure
You can do that.
our listeners are here. We want to make sure that she has a vibrant audience to speak to,
Right.
a vibrant audience to.
Let her voice be heard.
Yeah, we want everybody to hear her.
Okay, so let's do this. Let me begin with this, and I borrowed part of this from some information I was given, some documents I was given, and I added a little bit to the end myself as well. But let's begin with this. This is something we should all realize, period, every day in life, because we all have to have a supervisor or a boss or someone who leads us or someone who's in charge. So we need to be clear that a qualified leader is one who has learned to serve.
Mhm.
Now, that's the part that I got that was given to me. A qualified leader is one who has learned to serve. And then I added to it, don't y'all throw nothing at me, not one who just goes through motions of self-gratification, gaining no ground or progress or true successes for those who follow. And that's very important in the reason why Miss Patrick's here and why she's doing what she is doing.
Mhm.
And I will say this too, that just as it does every 4 years in the city, the beautiful city of Warner Robins, it's really a nice city. It's the home of Robins Air Force Base as well.
Yes.
So it's a good place with a lot of things going on. But it's time every 4 years, a time for election for the mayor has come, and just like every election year before this one, candidates have risen up across the city, bidding for the responsibility and power. I want to play with that word a little bit. The subjective power that comes from the elected positions when they afford to you. This year there were three candidates. The incumbent candidate, and then there's also another candidate who, because of the first election, he is not in the runoff right now. And then we have Miss LaRonda Patrick, who is the current.
What?
She's the current Fort Valley City Attorney.
She's
And-
around
and
the corner.
county.
I'm right up the
So
street. She passed
right
by my
around the
office
corner.
every day.
So again, in an effort to provide all the candidates, the two candidates that focus and ideas for growth and change to our listeners, it's really important that we offer up this time freely of the heart. and so
we giving you the platform. You see me and my TLC coach over there. We just listening to you, right?
I expect
we
y'all
haven't
to
jumped
join
in.
I
yet.
gave y'all my notes.
We gonna let her.
You were on
She
your
gotta
monologue. You on a monologue,
Right.
so we let you have
Well,
it.
come on. So the introduction part. If y'all one of y'all.
No, let her
Let her,
introduce
right.
it. Yeah,
This is her
she
time.
is here. She wants
We
to
don't
tell
need
us
to
about.
introduce her.
She wants to tell. I want to know about her. I want to know
Anyway,
about
What?
her.
Anyway,
I want to know about her.
No.
we're going to give her a chance to respond to a lot of stuff. The structure. That's
She
why you got
doesn't need
notes.
to respond though. She has to introduce herself. You have to
Yeah,
remember
you
this
got-
is the first time many people
Can
are
I do this?
seeing her.
Exactly. That's why I'm doing it like this.
She can introduce herself. She
I
can.
think
Anyway,
She trying to be the boss.
AJ.
Let her have her time.
AJ, I need you to cut some mics. I need you to kill some mics for a minute.
Look at
Look,
Rose Fields Waller say hello,
Hello,
Mayor.
Mayor. That's
So
Hi,
right.
Miss Waller.
somebody's already
That's my
speaking it
mother. Just
in-
so you know.
Oh,
someone is already speaking it in the
That's
name of
it.
Jesus.
Speak it into existence.
Oh.
Anyway.
Bless it, Lord. Bless it.
We're going to give you some time to talk about yourself. It would seem strange to have you talking about yourself as a self-described Air Force brat, wouldn't it?
Why?
Oh,
I do it.
Help
yeah,
yourself. Go ahead.
I say that
Okay.
all the time.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So my name is LaRonda Patrick. I am in the runoff for the office of mayor for Warner Robins.
You're fine.
The election on November 2nd, I was just 93 votes behind the incumbent, who's been serving for 8 years. So that was a huge accomplishment. I'm really excited about the turnout and the support in the community from all types of people. But my name is LaRonda Patrick. I am an attorney, a small business owner. I am a mother, and I am a public servant, and I'm running for mayor of Warner Robins. I stand for transparency, community, and integrity, and legacy inside our community. And I plan to evolve Warner Robins to the next level through innovation, industry, and involvement.
Awesome.
I am an Air Force brat. I'll make sure I say that. I am an Air Force brat. My dad served 22 years in the Air Force, retiring at Robins Air Force Base. My husband is retired Army. He is retired captain from 82nd Airborne. And my brother, my little brother, I like to point out little brother, he is currently serving in the Air Force. He's a wounded warrior, and he can retire next year.
All
So I come from a long line of military service members. And I am so happy to be here to meet all of you great people. Thank you for having me.
And you see how they pick on me, right?
Awesome.
Yes.
It's so funny how similar our backgrounds are.
Oh, really? Great.
I'm a military brat. My little brother, who's 15 months younger than me, he retired a couple years ago. I retired in 2014. My mom retired from the Air Force.
Awesome.
So, when I read your story and then when I saw you speak, I was like, I'm connecting with you. You're just a few years behind me. I go ahead, Northside Eagle. I'm a Warner Robins demon, but it's
okay. Thanks.
Well,
But
did you
yeah,
know?
right there
Did you know it's
together.
Air Force brat as well?
Yes.
So you got another one in the
Yes,
room as well.
Absolutely.
So I think we can all agree that it has caused us to be a certain way
Absolutely.
because of the upbringing. So
There's so many
interesting.
strengths that come with that
Mhm.
because you learn to
Mhm.
adapt and embrace diversity and interact with so many people from
And you move
everywhere.
Exactly.
and you have different locales that you can say that you may have lived in or
Mhm.
different places. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's 3 of us here. 3 of us on here today.
And then
Okay.
we have a military man
He's a
too.
4.
So,
We got 4.
We all have
So
some ties
We all got some time in
to the military.
so.
Yeah.
So-
Awesome.
So let me ask you this. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
May I ask a question?
The floor is yours.
The floor
Are you
is yours.
sure?
The floor is
I don't know. I don't know.
AJ,
Uh,
we need a cutoff switch in here. Anyway, and I'm doing this for a reason because you didn't touch on this in modesty, I'm sure. But tell us a little about your we know you're a brat. I mean, an Air Force brat. But tell us a little bit more about your educational background.
Okay.
And I'm doing that for a reason, because sometimes we find in political arenas, and sometimes we find in what you're trying to do, and just in this area here, we find that people are not in the right place to do what they claim they can do. And so I'll throw something at me if I'm saying too much.
You got
it. But this is a comparison because it's showing your qualifications, and you got some serious qualifications here that are unsurpassed. Period. So tell us a little bit about that. Touch on some of your educational background.
Oh, sure. So as far as education, I am a graduate of Northside High School. 20 years ago, I went on to college at Georgia State University in Atlanta. And then I went to law school in North Carolina. That's North Carolina Central University, where I started my path to becoming an attorney. My life's dream was to be a JAG attorney because I wanted to be like my hero, who was my father, and wear the uniform. But when that did not occur, I went into government procurement law. So that was my start. I also served in corporate law. That's my other strong point. And I currently serve in municipal law. But throughout my career, I have managed over $100 million of contracts at one time. That's managing them, negotiating them,
awesome,
doing the administration. Also, I have worked with department heads from federal agencies, heads of Fortune 500 companies, and I have procured over $250 million worth of contracts for companies across the nation. I've also served in leadership roles in organizations and companies, ranging from COO or Chief Legal Officer, for example, and also corporate counsel. I've worked for companies ranging from $7 million up to $650 million annually, which has allowed me to gain a wide range of skills when it comes to running an organization and an operation, and also managing a large budget.
Awesome. And I tell you, interesting enough, when you said, your background in law, your legal expertise, your legal acumen, your bio brief said too that, and it's obvious that you are uniquely equipped with the knowledge of, and it's funny because the way things have flowed here. I mean, the way things have flowed here.
It's not funny. It's on purpose. It's all planned.
Remember, we always yield. The Holy Spirit has His way.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
so
right.
That's why I do like it do.
And that's why she's here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it sounds like she's very qualified for the position.
Yeah.
Sounds like she has done her due diligence. And I was just jumping in there. You go ahead.
I was working a thought.
Go and work that thought. Work it on out.
AJ, we talk about those $1 million contracts and negotiation and corporate law and city codes and ordinances and state compliance. I understand too that the city has had, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, the city has run into some issues. And maybe you can be a little bit more of your transparency. You can be transparent and tell us how maybe you might alleviate that or answer some questions with that as well. So tell us about your big three.
My big three on my platform is innovation, industry, and involvement. Innovation is looking forward to the future. So making Warner Robins a smart city. We have the fiber already. We just need to turn it on. Also do a recycling program. It's 2021. We're not able to recycle anything. My son, who is 4, learns about it in school. And he says, Mommy, we need to recycle this. And I have to tell him, we don't have that, baby, So we need to make sure we have a recycling program for our children and for our future. Sustainable energy, electric charging stations for those who want to drive electric vehicles or Teslas, for example. For industry, we need more investment inside of our community. We need more career jobs, different types of diverse opportunities outside of Robins Air Force Base, which I love, of course. We just need more options for our children who go through our school system so they have other careers to look forward to if they're not able to find a position at Robins Air Force Base. Also, we need to have I would like to see, we're going to have a real downtown or a city center. So we can have the live, work, play community, mixed use, retail bottom, living space up top, green space for activities, community events, live music.
Please, Jesus.
Food truck roundups. The list goes on. We want to make sure it's senior friendly, bike friendly, pet friendly, and very walkable, a very walkable community. And that can be done in the traditional downtown area, which we do have, but it doesn't look like a downtown, but it does.
Not anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't look like one. Or we can do that in another space and call that a city center. So I'm looking forward to those changes for involvement. We need more things for our children to do, more things for families to do, more things for seniors to do. It benefits all of us as a whole, and it also includes our overall quality of life in Warner Robins. We need to renovate our parks everywhere, not just in certain areas, and have different opportunities for the citizens to get involved in our government. Many times, and I'm going to get off track a little bit, but I think this is important because this is a passion of mine. But many times when elected officials get in office, you don't see from them, you don't hear from them, they don't ask you anything, and they don't tell you anything. And that's one of the reasons I decided to run for office after realizing that. But it's important that we have elected officials who are true public servants and they care about the community. And we need to get back to the basics, get back to community, and making sure our city government has the people on the agenda at all times. And nothing is done for self, because it's not about self, it's about all of us and how we all can evolve Warner Robins forward.
Excellent.
So has that kind of been the trend from what you see that maybe prompted you to? Did it seem like maybe things have been going towards self or self-motivated purposes, or what?
I do. Back in 2005, that's when I first knew I would run for, I'd be in political office at some point. I was working at the General Assembly for the House of Representatives and then the State Senate. But while I was there, I got to see the reality of the legislative process and how bills are truly passed and the games that are played with our lives and how really good laws, good bills are pushed to the wayside because of political games. When I saw that, I knew I'd be in politics at some point because I wanted to be the change I wanted to see and not just be complacent and say, well, that's just what happens. And too often we all get complacent because the assignment seems too large to tackle for one person, which is true. But we got to take at least one small step at a time in order to make a difference for all of us. So I decided to be the change I want to see, and I am here, and I look forward to seeing the city of Warner Robins have people in place that care about the community and want to give back to the community and bring us all up together.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. When I heard you speak the first time, I was like, yes, Jesus, thank you. Finally, somebody, because everything that you're saying, I think one of the things that you talked on at the conference that we were at, you were just highlighting some of my thoughts. I mean, you just mirrored it. Our kids graduate and they are out. I'm trying to get out of here. I don't want to come back. I'll see you, Mom, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's it. Because there's nothing
to keep them, to hold
nothing
to keep them there. It's
not a place where you say, oh, I want to move to Warner Robins, or I want to stay in Warner Robins, or start a business in Warner Robins, all of those things. So I love the fact that you're looking progressively. Like it's time. It's time, because you can go see every other city and they're growing and thriving. And it's like we're stagnant. We're in this little box because we're afraid. I don't know what exactly, right. Is it growth? Is it
advancement of different mindsets and avenues?
International city, though, right?
Well, the base will always keep it. The base will always keep it international because it's always bringing in individuals from all over.
It will. But just like she said, everyone can't get on the base.
That's true.
It might take you 10 years to get a job on base. So what are you going to do in the meanwhile? What if you don't have connections? What if you don't have, if you're not a veteran, or it's hard. It's hard to get out there. And we see it so many times. And as a mother of a son who's graduating in 3 weeks. Thank you, Jesus. You know, all we're thinking is we got to get him on base. We got to get him on base. You know, but there should be other opportunities, and they're ready to go. They're like, Mom, we want to move. You know, there's nothing here.
You should ask our callers if they have some questions for her. If they want to call in with questions. So you may want to see if that's also. It's all right. If anybody has a call, want to call in and ask our guests a question regarding Warner Robins, the mayoral race, call 478-250-1444. Once again, that number is 478-250-1444. And we would love for you guys to call in and give us, because she is still a candidate.
Right.
It is a runoff, and people tend not to show up or come out as much on the runoff. And we need folks to come out. We need you to come out and support this candidate. We, you know, as we say, we're not trying to take sides, but at the same time, we know if you ask us what we think, we will tell you that. So, and
if you don't share your voice,
right,
you don't have anything to say.
Right,
you're just
right,
leaving
right.
it up to whomever does come out to vote. So, as my son would say, come and flex. You know, come and flex. Cast that vote. Let your voice be heard.
I have a question, but I'll wait until we see if anyone calls in, because it's an easy question, I think.
Well, you know, you would think with Warner Robins, and you can read about it anywhere. How diverse, how greatly diversified Warner Robins is. You would think that some of the problems that we call Warner Robins she, the city, how much problem she has as a city, and as many people who are gravitating to Warner Robins because they see Warner Robins, if I'm not mistaken, has some of the greatest schools rated. You know,
we
even
do have
in the
schools
country.
of excellence, absolutely.
Yeah. And so with people coming to here, why are things stagnant so much right now?
Because we go elsewhere.
Yeah.
We don't invest where we live. We live here and then we travel.
Yeah.
We go to Atlanta, we go to Savannah, we get on, you know, we're out.
But why can't Warner Robins be a mecca too?
It absolutely
With all the resources, being centrally located, you can get to the beaches over on the East Coast, you can get to the beaches down in Northwest Florida. It's all kinds. You have a great airport that you can travel for, and hopefully, with some. This is one of my hopes for, because of the basis is in Warner Robins too, that they will do something. You know, some conversations with the next mayor of Warner Robins. Conversations with the mayor of Macon, Georgia, to get that airport open back up again. It's amazing how small little towns, Albany and some of the other small towns, they have Delta coming there 6 or 7 times each way. And you have one of the biggest employers in the state here. And you can't get nobody but puddle hoppers to come down here. When I first came down and was from base to whatever, DC or wherever you had to go, or even people who are, the Valdosta Moody Air Force Base. People needed that hub to be able to make a jump and make connections and get where they needed to go. That's a lot of money that base pours into the transportation.
The economic impact is crazy.
So why can't they get that back open again? So maybe some conversations need to happen about
city
that
government.
too.
It's time for some new.
But is that Warner Robins or Macon though? I think that may be
Macon, but the conversation could come from them as well.
That kind of goes to my question, kind of sort of.
Yeah, because the conversation coming from you have a majority of the people in this area, we're at right now tonight because of the base who need that travel. How many people go TDY in a week?
Oh yeah.
I mean, even with COVID change and getting a little bit better till the crazies that crazy.
Don't start.
I'm trying.
Let's stay on track.
Even with that, the amount of dollars that are wasted. Look at that transportation company.
Don't say the name. Yes, we know who it is.
That transportation company, they have blown up.
Oh yeah.
Because the airport's died.
Yeah.
And they're making a killing. Nice new buses and vans. Get rid of that. Yeah. Get the city growing again.
No, keep it and then enhance that and still have our airport.
Yeah,
how about that? How about that?
And
how about we keep them all? We want them all to be vibrant, and we want this city to be a place of between Warner Robins and Macon and Middle Georgia. So my question was going to be similar to what I just want to ask. I always want to say Miss LaRonda.
She said LaRonda.
LaRonda. Of course, you know, Macon has its issues, and Warner Robins, of course, they're within 27 to 28 miles of each other. We're kind of looked upon as sister cities. They kind of work together. How would you help? I mean, is there something you see Macon and Warner Robins possibly coming together to, because, you know, Macon's talking about now this 10,000 seat amphitheater and some other things that they're thinking about doing, and that may tie into some of the things that would help. I'm just wondering, is there a way as a mayor that you may try to bridge that gap now? And that's one gap I see. And then the other part two of my question is, I know it's 1 and 2, is even though I want to Robins, because I work there. I'm a doctor. I work with Eyesight Associates on Spiller's Way. And so I'm there just as much as I am in Macon. I live in Macon, but I work in Warner Robins. And one of the things that I notice is that although the city is very diverse, is still sometimes very separated.
Very much so.
There are areas that are this and there are areas that are that. And so my question would, how would we bring those areas together? So that's kind of a 2-part question.
Okay. Well, great questions. Part one, I absolutely would love to collaborate with Mayor Miller on some projects together. Macon is running circles and circles around Warner Robins, just as many cities that we are next to. Many cities are
kind of growing and
evolving.
Doing some stuff.
Yeah.
Because if that train comes through Macon, we're gonna be on the map.
Yeah, so that's one thing. I mean, we're continuing to miss out on opportunities, and other cities are thriving from those opportunities that we miss.
Wow.
And there's no excuse for it. It's something that we're going to have to change, and absolutely working with our surrounding cities is something that I do want to do. Okay. Strengthening the relationship with all the surrounding cities and counties, and also Robins Air Force Base. And then you'll start seeing some things happening in Warner Robins as well. But it takes a team. Right. You can't isolate yourself from the others. You have to work with your partners. So that's what we're going to do. And in your second question, I seem to have lost it. What was the second question? Sorry,
no,
give me
just
a little
bridging
bit.
the gap between the different areas of Warner Robins. Because as I drive through different areas of Warner Robins, it can be very nice, and then you can go to areas that are
after dark.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it can be very nice in some areas, and then other areas it can be not so nice. And so, I guess my question is, how do we kind of bring up the areas that are not so nice?
Yeah,
and kind of, I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, I believe in treating areas equally, and that's not what's happened in Warner Robins. The places that are closest to the base are the neglected areas of town. They're the older areas of town, and just because something is old doesn't mean it's not good. Right. So those areas need some TLC, just like the other areas receive TLC. They need development, just like the other areas need development. And we are all one family. We are all Warner Robins, and everyone deserves the same resources. Right. So that's what we're going to start doing in our city.
Awesome.
So for the listeners again, this is for you. You need to give a call in. You know, she's here. Miss LaRonda, Miss Patrick.
LaRonda.
The mayor. What did I say?
LaRonda.
Just LaRonda.
That's right.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
LaRonda.
Okay. I'm just LaRonda.
It's just a formal thing, you know. So she's here for you. She's here to be able to answer some questions, maybe some things you might have heard. Maybe she can dispel. She can say a lot about what she feels about different things, her ways that she's gonna go. She believes in being transparent. So if you got somebody who's actually being transparent, take advantage of it. Be able to ask the question. So quit being shy. 478-250-1444. Call in and talk to her. I know I see some people out there who are in the area on the messenger. So go ahead and call in and talk to her. Yeah. You want to know something, you need to be informed. Make sure you talk to your friends, your family. Get folks out to vote. This next voting period is going to be one of the most important there is. You complain and talk about change in the city. You can't do nothing about it if you sit back and don't do nothing. So get up, go vote. If you make sure everything's in place so you can vote. Get your children of age who can go vote. Take them, take mom and them, take Pookie, take everybody out with you to vote. Now call in and talk to her. 478-250-1444.
LaRonda, is that one of your concerns, getting the vote back out?
Absolutely. That's one of my concerns. We know how We know how our people are.
Our constituents.
Your people, and
they're trying.
They're trying to get your attention.
Okay, we got a caller for you.
All right.
How about
Yay. Caller.
Okay, come on, caller. Good evening. Welcome to Backpage.
Good evening. This is Rose Waller. Hello, everyone. Hello,
Hey,
Mayor.
Rose.
Hey, Rose.
I have a question,
Yes.
and actually, it didn't become like a real concern of mine until the time changed. I was wondering, Mayor LaRonda, what plans do you have for public transportation throughout Warner Robins? I have. I'm a senior. And I have issues with vision.
You are not no senior.
Not really. She's a young senior.
But I have some vision issues, and since the time change with the glare and stuff of the lights of the cars, I always, if I'm out, I always say, oh, the street lights are on, so I got to hurry up and get home. So I already know that pretty soon, driving for me is probably going to be, especially at night. I really don't even really do a lot of night driving. But what are your plans? What do you foresee for the future as far as public transportation?
Okay, so I've been receiving a lot of questions about public transportation. So thanks for wanting that program in Warner Robins. I join you. I also believe that we need to have a transportation program, and we're going to do that. Some people will say they don't want the transportation because they don't want certain people to have access to parts that they don't want them to go into. That's the reality that we're dealing with here. So, but I do not believe that. But we need a transportation program. Like I said, we want to make sure our city is senior friendly, and that's part of it. There was a transportation study that was done some years back for Warner Robins and some surrounding areas, yet we still don't see a transportation program. We do have a bus. We do have a bus that I think it says like Warner Robins Transit on it or something, but I don't know anyone who's ever ridden it. I've never seen a schedule. I've seen it. I used to see it riding around, a couple times a month, but we need something that's more consistent and accessible for everyone to get around. So, Ms. Waller, you're going to see that change in Warner Robins. I do understand the importance, and that question has been asked of me more recently than any other question. So that shows me the demand is there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And see, I wouldn't even know how to even go about trying to find out about that, because I've seen the bus, a few times throughout, but I wouldn't even know how to even go about getting information on even how to ride it.
Well, you won't have that problem once I'm elected, because I'll make sure we're transparent and you have all of the access you need. Everyone will know how to find the bus schedule and get a pickup.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I'm holding you to it, Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, hold me to it. Accountability is also important.
That has a real nice ring.
Right? You heard that, Mayor?
Yeah, it has a real nice ring too.
It just rolled right off the tongue.
It did. It really did. So tell us about, and I might be saying it wrong if I'm saying, because I don't really know where exactly it starts or ends. The Jody, the area by the base.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Jody Town?
Jody Town is,
where does it start?
Where Jody
But
Town.
where does it start? I don't know where it starts. I know where.
I think it starts right at Watson and then goes over toward the church.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
So areas,
but we have Davis and Ignico and all of it.
Okay, so that's all included in it too. So I guess that fits into the blighted areas or whatever. And I think you mentioned something about having an idea of how to deal with that. You believe you had a way to try to work through that. So what was your ideas on that? I know it was code enforcement or what have you. What's your tool?
Well, yeah, there are a few things we can do to deal with those areas of town. One thing we need to do to deal with those areas of town is pay attention to them. Make sure they receive resources that are available, that they are not even being offered. Code enforcement is one way. There may be houses that are abandoned and dilapidated, and they're just sitting there, continuing to make the property values decrease in the area of which they sit. that can easily be fixed by our code enforcement and going through the process, which would allow the city to claim the property as theirs, and then we will have the rights to tear it down if necessary or build it up. But for those properties that actually have people living there, I don't believe in tearing down everything and building everything up new. There's a lot of culture when you have older homes, and I want to, and for those areas that we can still work with, there are programs that will allow us to give facelifts to those, so it can kind of match what's going on in the areas as we start to build up that area with new buildings and homes.
We got a caller, I think.
Sorry to cut you off.
Hate to cut you off, but we got a caller.
Okay.
Caller, come on in.
Hello to everyone. I was just calling. I appreciate your transparency, most definitely, because I'm big on accountability. And you said a lot when you said that we elect people and put people in office that basically hold seats. Now, that discourages a lot of voters basically in this time and era, because we have so much going on in Macon, and the focus is on the wrong things. We need to be focused in Macon on the gun violence, the youth gang that's going on in Macon. So I want to ask you, what kind of input or since you want to connect with surrounding counties, what kind of input or suggestions can you offer to our mayor concerning our violence in our own communities?
Okay, first of all, who are we speaking to?
Oh, yeah. Tell us your first name.
Tell us your name.
Keisha.
First name. Okay. All right. You don't have to tell us your whole name. All right. Keisha? Okay.
Well, I love that question. I am big on trying to reduce crime. As many of you know, Warner Robins has had an increase in crime. We have a record high of crime currently right now under our current administration, and that's something that has to be dealt with. So our challenge, we have a challenge just like Macon has a challenge, and I believe that we need to be creative in addressing that. Of course, I back the blue. I support our officers. I support public safety, and I want to make sure they have all the resources that they need to protect and serve. But we can be creative with what those resources are. So whenever I speak with Mayor Miller, who is also an attorney, a longtime attorney in our area,
and my classmate.
So we have that in common. I believe we can come up with some pretty good innovative ways to bring in education, training, and additional resources for our officers so that they can better police our cities and our communities, and put some emphasis on educating our youth on crime. Many of the stories we see on the news and in the paper are younger kids. They are younger adults. And we have to start paying attention to that and finding out what proactive measures we can do to help prevent the crimes from ever occurring. So I'd love to talk to Mayor Miller about some proactive ways we can address that. Somewhere dealing with education is what I would recommend.
Thank you so much, and I wish you the best of luck in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
She did ask a really good question, and it kind of ties into what you were saying earlier. There have to be things for the kids to do. There have to be resources. Idle time is where you get in trouble. Right. And then another thing that I see, which is horrible, but there's not value on these young people, don't value their lives either. Oh, okay. We got another caller.
All right.
Come on in, caller. Who are we talking to?
Good evening.
This is Nakitra Odom.
Good evening, Nakitra. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
All right. What's your question? Come on in.
I was listening to Keisha, and I happen to know Keisha. And everybody focuses on the crime. I'm a very big advocate for Macon, and I do agree. She was talking about the voting, but that is the problem because the younger people won't get out and vote. And you can say that they don't get out and vote because they don't like what's happening. Well, that's even more reason to get out and vote. And she kind of focused on the crime. But I agree, when she said idle time. So trying to get more things in the community for people to do, that is, to me, the thing. I agree. That's what's going to start decreasing the crime. And people always say Warner Robins. Well, I lived in Warner Robins, too. Warner Robins is ridden with crime, just like Macon. I won't go into so much details. But for one thing, I live in Macon. If I don't watch the news, I don't know what's going on in Macon because I don't see it in my neighborhood. Warner Robins doesn't have a news station nor a newspaper to report as much as Macon does. So you won't know as much as what's going on in Macon. That doesn't mean that it's not happening in Warner Robins. So, I know y'all talking about something totally different, but
no. We want to absolutely. So there's a question about the crime because I believe our mayor candidate just said that she wants to connect with Macon so that we can try to decrease the crime. So is that? We just want to know what the question. The question. What's the question?
So I don't have a question. It was just more so. I agree with what she's saying as far as connecting and having more.
Got you.
So that was just. That was just my little input. I didn't have a question per se.
Cool. No, you're good. We want all the input. We love all the input. Please don't think that we just love it because what you're thinking, many others are thinking. What you're saying, many others are thinking. So that's why it's so important. So we thank you a whole lot for that. Okay. Awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Have a great night and keep doing great things.
We're going to try. Thank you so much. Okay.
All right.
Well, tagging off of that, since she did ask that question, I keep wanting to call you Mayor Patrick. LaRonda.
Just get in practice.
I know.
2 weeks.
Let's do this.
I just want to invite to the party when you get off. I just want to be in there, just saying, hey, Dr. Summerow's in the house.
Okay, so
I like to have fun,
So let's get through these. Let's get through these. What is your official stance
on crime, and more especially the phrase defund the police? You told me to say it.
Well, I stated earlier that I back the blue. I fully support our police officers. I fully support public safety in all communities, especially the one of which I live and the one where I work. They are my family where I work. I work with police officers. I have an office in the police station right next to the break room. So I see officers and speak to them and interact with them on a regular basis. So I absolutely do not agree with that term. I don't like that it ever came into existence. I will not ever agree with it or even entertain people that believe in that, because I do not. I believe that officers and our public safety should have all the resources that are available. They need to have more resources when crime is on the rise. They need more resources, not less resources. If we take the resources away from our officers, then all of us lose. So
let me ask a question. Do those resources include diversity training and training of how to handle certain situations that have made national news and that have made, these things where our communities have been so volatile right now? Right now, we're dealing with 2 cases in national news. Of course, the Ahmaud Arbery case, as well as the young man out in Seattle that came in and shooting. So I just want to ask, is that when you say resources, some folks don't really understand. They may just think that means a camera or something like that, but or an additional gun. Yeah. So when you say resource, I think that what you're saying is more like diversity training, some other resources to help them learn more about the communities they are education, things like that. So if you can just give us a little bit more on that resource.
Yes. So for the resources would include training, equipment, technology, community engagement opportunities. There you go. Also, like you said, some training on when necessary to use force, how to interact with demographics that may be different than what you're used to, all those types of trainings that will help boost and lift and support our men in uniform who fight for us every day at home base.
Okay, I think that's been used. We're going to go on to the next questions. We want to get these questions. I think that's just been used as a catchphrase, a political catchphrase. They'll defund the police to try to take away from certain people. So go ahead.
So the question that I have, I know we're seeing so much about this lien on the city. How is that going to impact anything as far as budgetary programs or resources?
Well, yeah, the liens are here, $800 $100,000 in liens by the IRS, which is historic for our area. And I'd even venture to say for Middle Georgia, that's a historic thing. It's a disappointment to many of us who live in Warner Robins and work there. And the fact that our mayor said he's not aware of it, that's another matter for discussion. But to stay on track with your question, it's going to affect many things. Of course, our quote unquote credit score for the city is going to decrease because we have a tax lien. Just like if anyone individual has a lien,
it affects your tax,
it affects them too. So when we're trying to build new infrastructure, build buildings, any type of project that takes big money, it's going to affect our bond rating. So we're going to have higher interest rates, which is going to cost taxpayers more money. Anyone who pays taxes in Warner Robins, property taxes, taxes at a supermarket or a convenience store, even, we're going to start feeling that the impact of these liens that we have to find money in a budget to fulfill.
Right.
A budget that's already been drawn up.
And that's almost like inheriting a problem. When when of course this race is done, that will be something that you will have to deal with probably the first day of office. So
yes.
And I guess that all ties back into what you just said. That was going to be one of the other questions. These questions came in. Who was affected most by the liens? I mean, it would be the businesses as well, landlords, property owners, even homeowners and visitors. We all pay tax.
Yes.
Taxes gotten crazy. I mean, taxes have gone up quite a bit. So that's just a few. And so I guess we're all hooked into it until it gets resolved or whatever. But I'm going to say this, our time is coming short.
Man,
but
this hour went by fast.
I just don't understand. This is my personal opinion. I'm not going to say no names. I just don't understand someone who's supposed to be at the helm can be unaware.
Right.
How can you not know if you're running a city and if you're supposed to be in charge and doing, how do you not know these
The city
things?
accountant's office is literally like
right. And they supposedly work hand in hand. So my personal opinion, and my opinion don't really matter a lot, is maybe some heads should have been turned a long time ago, and some positions should have been either dissolved or replaced or something like that. Yeah. This city's too rich to go through what it goes to. So
let me rephrase his statement in a question. As the new mayor, how will you keep your eye on things so that this type of thing won't happen going forward? But that was what you just asked. That's what you just asked, essentially.
Well, she already talked about how she managed so much, the multi-millions, so.
Because the question, most of these have been answered.
Go ahead.
Well, it's important for leaders to pay attention to what's going on. Make sure you have different checks and balances in place to catch these types of things. Now, the mayor, I'm sorry, did I say the mayor? My opponent states that he is not aware of the liens, which is a little hard to believe with a city of our size, with the experts we have working in our city and the auditors, the great auditors that we employ, and finance directors and consultants, the list goes on, that for 5 years, this would have been missed and never mentioned to anyone. And there has been some that's come on and they've actually made their statement stating that, well, I was in the room when we found out that this would likely happen because we were not doing our reporting and paying our taxes as we should have been. But at the end of the day, it comes down to leadership. The leader has to take responsibility of things. Right. And as mayor, I will always take responsibility for things because that's what leaders do. Leaders, they don't get all the praise. The people that follow them do. And you mentioned something earlier that I wanted to talk about when you were talking about leadership, and people allow you to lead them. And the way you judge a great leader is how many leaders they help develop. So I look forward to having an opportunity to showing our constituents in Warner Robins how leadership really looks and how it feels and how it impacts and how it benefits us all.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Are there any earmarked budgetary items that would be immediately affected in jeopardy because of having to pay the lien or penalties? What do you see?
Well, that's a great question because, as I stated, there's a budget that already exists. The budget's already been drawn up, and I don't know if there's any room for overage or some fluff in there, but we're going to have to tighten up some things that are not mandatory to find ways to pay this $800,000 lien. So yeah, there are things that's going to come that may be going away, but there'll be, I'll just say, if I have my way, there'll be things that are so minute as far as how it impacts our lives that most people won't even realize we're not having those things because there's waste that goes on. There's spending that doesn't need to happen. There's place we can cut the budget some. So we'll find something that doesn't truly impact us, and that's what I'd like to do.
Good, that's excellent. So again, our time is really running out. This is flown through. This is really flown through. So it might necessitate having you back one more time. When is the runoff election?
Well, voting actually starts on Monday.
Okay.
Early voting is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So you can vote before you go on Thanksgiving break, or you can vote when you get back on Tuesday, November the 30th.
Okay.
And I need everybody to vote, please.
Okay.
Every vote counts this time.
Yes.
Well, maybe
get them out.
Maybe if time allows, maybe we can bring you back if you're in town next Wednesday for a half hour.
Sure. I definitely will get back to you to make sure I'll let you know if I can do that. Okay. Thank you for even inviting me to come back.
Oh, well, definitely so. It needed to be done because people need to know that you're out there and, what your plans are for the city when you do step into the office. So we're going to get ready to wrap up. We're going to give you one more bit.
What do you want to leave the people with?
Yeah, tell us why. Yeah. Why should they select you over Tom's?
Well, I believe that with our city and the mismanagement that we've seen, it requires a candidate that is highly trained, educated, and skilled, and experienced with what is required to run a city the size of Warner Robins. I have the experience, and I will be the candidate that's about community, transparency, and legacy. We're looking forward to the future. It's time for us to have an elected official in office who is a public servant at heart and who puts people over power every time. And that is who I am, and that's who I will always be. So thank you. Vote LaRonda Patrick for mayor.
Say that full name.
I'm glad you came because people needed to see you. One thing that I've learned in business, people support when they know, like, and trust you. And so you have to get out there. We need to see you and hear you. So I'm glad
absolutely, that is right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you.
So as we wind down again, it's been a good show. It's been an interesting show.
Awesome.
It's been a good show. We were very blessed to have LaRonda with us again. I think I'm starting to hear the music come in the background. So it was good to have her here, which we'll talk again offline and see about when you come back again for a few minutes, especially with the vote coming on. So we've had a good time here at, on Backpage again. Well, I do hear the music coming. So we thank you for being here with us. It meant a lot to us. Miss LaRonda Patrick, next mayor of Warner Robins.
Yep, this is Charmaine, Exalting Wellness. Blessings, 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 everyone.
You forgot something.
No.
TLC.
Oh, goodness.
You agree?
That's the worst part you can pick.
I like the Exalting Wellness. Reverend Dr. Stephen Summerow, the pastor of Greater Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, also a local eye doctor at Eyesight Associates, dry eye specialist. We're so glad to have you every week. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
You forgot too.
What did I forget? Oh, and I'm the eye job.
And I'm just the other guy that sits here.
Oh, goodness.
So I am Reverend Gregory.
And you forgot yours too. Action Jackson.
Come on.
Okay, I am Reverend Gregory Jackson. As the eye jock calls me, I'm Action Jackson, the Action Jackson jock. Yet I'm the quiet storm jock. Anyway, so we're here. We've done it again. It's okay. I'm talking to my microphone again, so I get my eyes rolled at me. But we're about to wrap up another edition. Don't forget, if you choose to sponsor us, I don't remember.
Yes, we need
thing.
dollar sign
sponsor us.
Dr. Stephen D. Summerow. Cash App, dollar sign Dr. Stephen D. Summerow.
Help us to keep bringing to you what we have here. We're grateful.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it. We're grateful. So we wrapping up again. Get that
Once again, that is $ Dr. Stephen Summerow, Cash App. Thank you.
That's it. And looks like that's another E, and we've wrapped up another edition of Backpage. So good night. Thank you. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
To Backpage with your host, Reverend Gregory Jackson, Associate Minister at Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church. Backpage is community talk that examines community issues with the intent of shining a new light to those affected, concerned, and desiring better. Join us next week at 6 p.m. for Backpage with Reverend Gregory Jackson.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.